Okay, this video is to help teachers understand Headsprout. So you go to headsprout.com and over here you log in. Right now I'm logged in as me. Once you're logged in, this right here is the page that you see. Okay, some things that are helpful to know about. First of all is resources. So if you're wanting to get a little bit of an understanding about Headsprout, you can begin by either looking at early reading, which is kind of kindergarten through through mid-second grade, or reading comprehension, which starts about mid-second grade and goes up. For early reading, you got a few different options. Option one is you can take a look at episodes. So let's try out the episodes. Here's the episodes, and you can see that it's broken down into 80 episodes. You have a chance to take a look and to see the different episodes. As you look at the episodes, for example, episodes 1 through 23, Crack the Code. Here are the phonetic elements that are taught. Okay, you can create flashcards for episode 5 if you'd like. There's also the words that are taught during episodes 1 through 5. Okay, and if you want to actually go in and preview an episode, you can preview an episode. There's also an ebook associated with the episodes right there as well, and you can print those off like you do any Reading A to Z book. If you want to preview an episode, a good way to preview, well, you can just click here. There's the Dino World, episode 6 through 11, and then Sea World, 12 through 18. Again, you can see the words taught and the phonetic elements that are taught. You can see that there's ebooks associated with many of those. You're welcome to print off the ebooks. We can print those off and use those with the students. So here's been a chance for you to see the episodes. You can click on any of those and it'll open up and you can review them. Next, we have the stories. Here's the stories that we just talked about. It tells you what episode they're with, and you can pull those up. You can set those up to project on the smartboard if you're doing that, or if you want to print off a handful of copies, you can print off a handful of copies to do. Benchmark assessments. So here it gives you an idea how to track the benchmarks, the books that are used for those benchmark assessments and their correlations. There's some readiness activities, so if you need to, you can talk about how to use the mouse, or if it's Spanish, how to use a mouse as a Spanish student right there. There's also fluency building activities. So if you wanted to, you could practice some fluency activities as it relates to Headsprout. So let's say after somebody's done episode 20, here's a projectable version that you can then put up on a smart board. It could be a center rotation that you use. But here are the sounds that they have after lesson 20 up here on the board. They can practice reading those off. And how many sounds are they able to say in a minute? Okay, and again it goes to the next set of sounds. Okay, so there's 3 different sets for you. You've also got words that they could do. So this is just a little bit about what's available in Headsprout in that regard. So you got episodes you can look at, books you can do, benchmark assessments, readiness activities, and fluency building. Another thing that's valuable to do is to take a look at the teacher corner. Over here there's some helpful tools. For example, there's a video library. So if you go to the video library with Headsprout, here is a beginning video.
Headsprout. In this video, we'll cover accessing your Headsprout account, rostering students, placing students into the sequence, launching the program, and monitoring progress. Let's get started.
Okay, so that gives you an idea of how to get started. You have there's another way here to get students started. With that, it gives you some tips about what you need to have for a device to work, system requirements. There's also that you need to get students assigned. There's how you can do a benchmark assessment as well as a placement assessment. Here, I've already downloaded the placement assessment. Here's what a placement assessment looks like. Okay, first of all, the students are going to have this sheet right here. This is the one-to-one assessment. The way it's going to start is you're going to sit down with the student and you're going to just you'll cover up all this information. You'll cover up everything from number 2 down with the white sheet of paper, so all they're seeing is what's at the top. Can the fish flip? I feel free, shouts the fish. And then, so they read that section. If they read it with, here it is right here, if they had 2 or more errors, you start on episode 1, 1 error or perfect reading, go to the next one. You could start them after this, tells you how many errors. You could start them on episode 19, or you could be starting on episode 41 or episode 46, depending upon how well the students have read. This is administered one-on-one, but this should give you an idea of how to determine where to place the test. And this is beneficial because when you're going back to your home page, you want to manage your students.
Welcome to the new and improved Headsprout. In this video, we'll cover...
Okay, you want to manage students. Okay, let's say you're going to add your students in. When you go in to add in your students, you're going to type in a first name and a last name, and you're going to say what episode do they start on. And this is where that placement test comes in. Depending upon the placement test and the results from the placement test depends upon where you start the student on episode 1, episode 19, 41, I think there's a 50 something in here as well. Okay, or you could be starting them all the way down on reading comprehension. Please be aware that if you start them on reading comprehension, all students must start reading comprehension at section 1, because sections 1 through 5 give some key instructions on how the rest of the test perform. So hopefully this information has been helpful to you and can guide you in helping to set up your class and your students. Thanks.